And I have now the challenge, well, this first challenge today, not the first challenge, to tell a little bit or present a little bit 4 really important words, buzzwords really. So open innovation, crowdsourcing, crowdfunding, and intellectual property rights within, well, half an hour. It's not possible, of course. So I will just pick out some, I think, well, I hope so, most important points, which, well, most of them, of the slides, came also from the University of St. Gallen, which we are closely linked to as BGW. So let's start with the presentation. Well, the agenda, surprisingly, has 3 points: open innovation, crowdsourcing, and IPR in the context of open innovation. So what is open innovation? Maybe I'll just go a little bit to the side that everyone can read it. It's not this, but it's a really funny strip, and I love it. We are going to use CMMI. It's a model for developing a process to create a framework. Or better, it might be a process for creating a framework to make a model. But there's no budget for training, so we'll be relying on guessing more than usual. No, open innovation is not that complicated, but it has several aspects. First of all, open innovation is a strategy. Okay, does everyone know what strategy means? Because strategy is also such a buzzword for everybody. Everybody uses strategy, we have a strategy for this and that. So strategy is, for us, quite simple. It's a way, or the way to get to a special aim. I come back to this. Then we have a process, open innovation. Open innovation is mostly, or for most people also, the process changing from a closed innovation paradigm to an open innovation aspect. Third of all, we have a bundle of tools for open innovation. Open innovation, one main tool is crowdsourcing. We have cross-industry innovation, expert innovation journeys, whatever. So a bundle of tools that can be used to implement open innovation in an institution or company. And fourth, and this is maybe the most important point on open innovation, it's some sort of a mindset, of a culture. And this is really what takes time. I think time in every institution to understand and to accept that open innovation includes really a change in mind and change in the openness of everybody, which is included in this whole topic. So what is open innovation as a strategy? And I have taken this example from Procter & Gamble, which was one of the largest companies starting with open innovation 7 years ago. And I think open innovation is really these 2 lines here. It's incorporating the capabilities of external resources. And so what they did before, well, like most of the companies and most of the institutions, they had a closed research and development scheme. And then they tried to change their attitude and their processes, come to this point, connect and develop. So taking into consideration what consumers need, get them into the process, what is possible, of course, as internal resources from Procter & Gamble, and what's possible with your innovation. And your innovation will mean that all type of stakeholders who would be interested were included or are included in the Procter & Gamble innovation process. Another interesting aspect in the open innovation strategy is what Migros, you know, Migros is like Rewe, it's a big supermarket chain in Switzerland. They use crowdsourcing really as an extensive tool for new products. And what they have is really some sort of a crowdsourcing pipeline. So they, each year, or in a year in advance, they really plan which projects and which, I would say, product lines and which partners they will develop over this over a year, for example. This is just an except of the whole pipeline. It's really really interesting to see how they will work. They have an own Wikipedia website and website and whatever. So it's really interesting to see what they are doing on this crowdsourcing open innovation aspect. Come a little bit to the theory. I think this paradigm shift between closed and open innovation should be discussed a little bit. And I think, well, many institutions still have this, I would say, mindset in minds that say, okay, well, we are the smart people in our institution. We shall profit the most of our R&D. We discover it ourselves. We shall use it only ourselves. We shall control our IP, intellectual property. I will come to this point also later a little bit more. And this is not. I think open innovation is really that you open your institution, that you understand that there are a lot of smart people outside of your institution, that even if they are not expert in your field, they can, based on their competencies, based on their outside view on a topic, can, well, include and implement and use and take really know-how that you have and give you know-how that you don't have at the end. And I think, which is also really important, to come also to this point of IP, intellectual property, protection and rights, is that this IP should be, to some point at least, shared or be open. It means not that you lose your IP, so that you lose your intellectual property from yourself, but that you enable others to do other things or the same things better also than you do. I think it's really interesting to understand this, and well, even huge companies are really struggling, small companies are struggling with this problem, and I think it takes really time to pass through open innovation. Open innovation is really also a process, and here you see what was a normal innovation process for, I think, years, hundreds of years. So you have some sort of a funnel, you have some sort of ideas come into this, and then you have the main idea. It's all developed in the early phase within the company. You have a development phase, and then you go out to the market, and at the end of the market you will hope to earn money. So open innovation opens these boundaries, especially in the early innovation phase. So when you're here at the development phase, well, it's even in all open innovation institutions still have quite closed and quite stage gate processes. But in the early innovation phase, there you have the chance to profit from the know-how, from external capabilities. And we have at least two processes within open innovation. First of all, you have an outside-in process. So you get knowledge, ideas, generations from outside the institution, the company, via crowdsourcing, cross-industry ideas, experts you are inviting, however, and look at external technologies really to enter into your innovation process. See, okay, what ideas, what possibilities are there out there in the market, how can you use them? But the second point is also, wow, we have a great idea in our company or institution, but it really don't fit to our core competencies. It really don't fit to that what we are standing for, what will be our vision. So why not go out to other companies, develop spin-offs, multiplicate your technologies to other industries. So this is really, well, this more and more companies are already doing, but this is, I would say, the next level, really going out with your ideas and promoting them. And the third level is then a coupled process, so linking the outside in and inside out process with innovation networks, within strategic alliances to really foster innovation. Let's just shortly give an example for this. I'm sorry, we haven't translated. It's a company which we consulted, and well, they had the main problem. They really worked well on aluminium surfaces for automotive applications, I would say, especially to isolate against heat, against noise, or whatever. They had one problem. They were really dependent on the automotive industry. So if the major OEMs had no more interest in their product, the whole business will go down. So the idea was, okay, we have to open our innovation process. And what they did, they abstract. They look for the core competencies. They abstract the idea, and then went with crowdsourcing and with sort of a cross-industry approach into other markets. For example, in garden machines, for ovens, protection shields for ovens. They go into the solar technology, into medicine. So a company which was really for 50 years working only for automotive suppliers really opened their mindset to go into other industries. So open innovation is not only like saying, okay, we go out with our ideas, but also within the company or within the institution. Just think about, well, open innovation starts in front of my office door. So when I go to not only to the next office, but maybe to the other department, maybe to another research department within our institution, maybe they have ideas. They are not really experts in our field, but maybe they have ideas to promote, to enable, to better develop your innovation. So we have internal innovators, which might help you, and of course the external innovators. External innovators, well, customers, I think many of us know customers and clients to interact with them. But we have suppliers, we have public authorities, we have media, we have bloggers, which may be able to interact with you on open innovation. Last, open innovation, as I said, is a culture and a mindset. And I think the most important here is this not invented here syndrome. So many people in many institutions say, well, it's not my idea, I will not push it. That's really a problem, and at the beginning you say, okay, well, you can't imagine, but looking at in the R&D department of companies, looking at researchers and institutions, you really have this idea, well, it's not my idea, so I will not push it. And this is really a mindset you have to change and say, okay, we can optimize our innovation potential really by understanding that others have also great ideas and that these great ideas might be in perfect collaboration or cooperation with our ideas. Some examples for open innovation and cross-industry innovation. Fischer, who's a skiing company, they look for new materials and new technologies to enable better the vibration damping of the skis. And they look into the music or culture, music scene and see, okay, how is vibration damping used in the most, I would say, intense way with violence, and took over the technologies. They really invited producers of violins and also other music instruments who use damping systems and say, how can we use their know-how and technology within our ski production? Which at the beginning it sounds a little bit crazy at the end. Another interesting example is Hilti. Hilti is this, you see it here from construction tools, famous company, and they have the problem that they up to for over years only sold their products, and then, okay, if they have a damage or have a problem, they will come back for repair. And in order to change also a little bit the financial scheme of the construction industry companies, they propose now to rent. It's a renting system for their construction tools. So if you're a construction company and have a large working on a large building or whatever, you will no longer buy the products, but you will rent, including all services from Hilti, the construction tools. So they look for it and say, okay, how do logistic companies work with their fleet management? How do they really interact? And I think this is a really interesting example to understand you can learn a lot from other industries and technologies. I don't like this slide because it's too complicated at the end to explain it in detail, but it shows the variety of open innovation because you have such a high level of vertical industry and horizontal integration, starting from you as a company, going into science on this level, on the same level, going to customer of customer, supplier of supplier, going out of your network somewhere else to internationalize your innovation. So this is really shows how broad open innovation can be, not only just asking, okay, what is your customer doing, but going beyond this. When coming now to crowdsourcing, because we are a lot speaking about crowdsourcing, and we have already heard today a lot about crowdsourcing, so I'll just give you a few further comments on this. Crowdsourcing came from the interesting combination of crowd and outsourcing. We have a lot of sub-activities, crowdfunding, fan sourcing, whatever, crowdcasting. But I think the most important about crowdsourcing is that it's not really a new topic. When do you think was the first crowdsourcing project established? Just give a number. 50 years, 10 years? Maybe, but the first one we found was in 714, where the English royal family were thinking about we need a new marine instrument. And they really used the first crowdsourcing approach to find this marine signalizing tool. One other important was in 1858, the first Oxford English dictionary was also a crowdsourcing project, because like today, Wikipedia, it was written by thousands of people, and they get together all the knowledge to really develop the first Oxford English dictionary. Crowdsourcing is really an industry today, and this we don't have to forget. Also, if you concerning your question, if there's enough money, we are speaking about billions of dollars in the world when we go on crowdsourcing actually. So I think the opportunities are so huge. Of course, we have the problem of competition, and to a certain point where we have to deal also on the project with, but it's not a question of money at the end. I think there's enough money for crowdfunding and crowdsourcing in the world. Innocentive, you know it, of course, it's one of the biggest science crowdsourcing with 200,000 members worldwide. And Datitsu, for example, which is one of the Swiss crowdsourcing company, each project leads to more than 600 ideas in average. So these are figures which you never reach with normal, I would say, innovation processes. In the context of this project, we were in charge of doing the IPR concept. So we were in charge of developing the licensing scheme, the open and the closed licensing scheme, the intellectual property rights aspects for companies. And what we did to do this, we look at 24 platforms. We reviewed all the platforms. It continues on the next slide. And see, okay, how are they dealing with IPR in their projects? And we were really surprised, because up to now, IPR is quite a field within open innovation which is not really, I would say, not so much people have discussed and being concerned of this. I think one of the, up to now, most developed IPR concept had innocentive, but in most cases, there was quite few IPR aspects. So what are IPRs at the beginning, maybe? Well, first of all, we talk about patents, of course. Then we talk about utility patents. We talk about trademarks and copyright. I think these are the most important IPRs. Of course, there are Normen, wie sagt man Normen eigentlich auf Englisch? Well, Normen, standardization aspects, and further, depending on your country, further different modes. But these are really the four most important IPRs we have to deal also in a project. And the question is, shall we protect our innovation through IPRs, or shall we open it? And I want to give you a short last example which shows extremely good the potential of, on the one hand, protecting an IPR, and on the other hand, open it to the public to develop a worldwide standard. This is a normal patent, normal patent, first site. You have here, I don't know if you know it, you have here the inventor, I don't know if you can read it, somewhere the priority date. And the patent is about about an algorithm for statistical machine translation. And something which sounds at the beginning, well, okay, well, not too fascinating and not too interesting. But this algorithm was the basis for really a huge success story. In 2003, Mr. Köhn and Mr. Knight, the two inventors, developed this algorithm. Based on this, they make a revolution on translation, automatic machine translation. And this patent is, for example, the basis for Google Translate. Without this, we won't have Google Translate, we won't have translation in companies and so on. So what did they do at the beginning? Well, they followed the normal way. At the beginning, where they built up a startup, they raised funds via venture capitalists in the US, they were in San Diego sitting. So everything normal, and then after 5 years, they sold their company to a larger company, which were developing software for machine translation activities for $42 million, which is quite a huge sum already after 5 years. But the second company said, well, okay, we have now the software, but it's still not. We have this algorithm, but it's still not at the end. We can make more out of it. And what they did, they really opened the access to this translation algorithm. Why did they do this? They saw the potential of really developing a really larger market at the end. So we have, one point which came out of this is Moses. Moses is a program you can download and have to implement it within your institution for a translation system. And what happens at the end, that the original idea, this translation idea, is a facilitator for a huge bundle of businesses and services. And we have today an open standard on this algorithm, on the development of this this translation mode. And we have even now 15 times higher market volume and turnover of the companies, because they are doing a lot of services around translation systems all over the world. And also this company are using it more and more to develop its own services, and it's really profiting. So what I wanted to show is, it's not always that you can say, okay, we have this is the best solution protecting, this is the best solution open in innovation, but it's really about a trade-off. And well, we try to break down this trade-off a little bit. When shall we protect our innovation, and when shall we open a little bit this innovation? So we have some sort, on the one hand, some sort of a monopole, a strong protection, and on the other hand, we have the diffusion and open source aspect. And we understand that, okay, if you have high investments, longer time to take off, technology as a USP, normally a protective mode or protective strategy would be more valuable for your institution. But if we have some sort of services, business models, which we are a lot of dealing also, or creative aspects, which we are a lot of dealing also in this innonative platform, quite small R&D investments, shorter time to take offs, then really we have to look, okay, how can we diffuse, how can we open this idea that others can, I would not like to say profit, because on the one hand they profit also, but it's a negative aspect for you, but really use this idea to develop further to see, okay, how can they also profit from this idea? So we still have to be aware both options can be played simultaneously within IPR in open innovation. So to conclude, it was really, well, a picking of some aspects within 25 minutes now to open innovation, to crowdsourcing, to IPR and open innovation. I think one sentence at the end, nothing is more constant than the change. And this is really what I think also about open innovation. It will develop further to further aspects and to further instruments, and we can all profit from this. And well, thanks for your attention.